Yes. Yes.
It's 8 o'clock. We'll call the Steele County Commission meeting to order. We got agenda additions, approval of the minutes, and miscellaneous department updates and hands. Need a motion or agenda.
I do have additions. Amy just received 2 building permits, so if we could approve those with the other items under her,
Okay,
and mileage reimbursement update discussion.
okay.
And I have just a short thing on a response to something that had been in the paper, and I just want to give my 2 cents. That can be last.
Okay. Any other agenda additions? Bill, another agenda addition? Or
Paper.
paper? Sure.
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Everybody read the minutes of the previous meeting? Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of June's meeting, or any corrections or that? Ted, you got a motion?
I'll second that.
A second by Richard. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. The miscellaneous department updates, handouts.
That was
That's this pile here going
Correct.
around here by Brian and stuff. So there's razor tracking and all that stuff, and Empower and some of this other stuff here too to go over. Stuff. So we'll move on to the 2023 budget review.
okay. So your hand or your budget binders are in front of you. Your old years were clipped together, so you still all have the previous year. Well, the format or is the same as previous years. First is all the budget requests for 2023, followed by fund balance updates for you, and those are as of July 1st. All of the fund balances. The current budget with the expenditures as of July 1st is on there, followed by some estimated revenue items and a history of the revenue. After that is the current levies, mill levy report from 2021. We do not have the next section, the general fund worksheet, until I do my first run through of all the budget figures after we go through them. I'll hand that out at the next budget meeting. And then after that is salary information. Everyone's current salary, as well as calculations for 2, 3, 4% increases. And then the back is all the additional handouts we received, along with the department updates. So those are all back there for your guys' review. I would make a suggestion that you do meet with department heads for their budgets, as there were quite a few handouts received this year in addition to their budget form. So
Remind us, when do we have to have this finalized?
by August 10th. So would request your August meeting that we do the preliminary finalization. Okay,
I think we
Please.
should set a meeting next week or so to get started on these, and then meet with the department heads individually.
Right. So you said the budget's gotta be done by the 10th?
let's go with your August 2nd meeting, please.
Okay.
The preliminary, you can always lower after that up until October 10th. So,
August 2nd, then will be our meeting.
correct.
We wanna have one before that?
Yeah, we should have one maybe next week, just to get one, if we have time.
Cause we're already on July 6th, so. Any dates that don't work?
We'll be gone on Tuesday. Next week.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is the treasurer and auditor convention.
Next week, Emily,
Correct.
12th, 13th, and 14th.
Right.
How about the 19th?
Yeah, that'll work.
Well,
We got like
for
one
me,
PM.
well,
Does that work for you guys?
Good for me. 1 PM.
Okay,
what time did you say?
1?
1?
July 19th then, 1 PM.
So then,
Budgets,
so then shortly after that, we should pick a date too that we should have. Meet with department heads. You guys want to do that? Because you probably shouldn't do it at the meeting, correct? Take forever.
Well, maybe we should meet with someone that day.
Yeah, maybe we could do it that day too, if it works. 10-minute, 15-minute slots of who can get lined up.
Yeah,
We could just-
How many department heads total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
15 minutes, a couple hours. Yeah, we should just try to meet with them.
Meet with them all, you meet with them all that day too. So
Some
yeah,
of them will be very basic and short.
Yeah,
yeah.
So,
Let's reach out to them and meet with them.
yeah.
That works.
do you want to go through anything on them today? Or do you want to take them home and review them for the 18th?
19th.
19?
Let's do that.
Let's review.
Okay.
Let's just,
If we get more time at the end of today, we can maybe go back.
Right.
So the water board will be coming down at 8:30 to meet with you.
Come here.
Okay, next is the water board. I know also that Mike isn't gonna be here neither, right?
Mike emailed yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's not gonna be here, so that's out. So,
you can take me or Amy. I'm sure we're both
yeah,
free.
yeah, let's take Amy now. You wanna do your building permits and all this stuff now?
Sure,
We're jumping ahead a little bit.
sure.
That's fine.
We don't have that in our laptops, do we? The new permits and stuff.
No, the one she had was in there, but not
I just
the
brought
new
them,
ones.
so you guys can, I told her that she can look at.
Morning.
Good morning. Morning. Is that microphone on?
Yeah, screen.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 2 building permits that you guys did get in your agenda packets. One is for Josh Austinson. They're gonna be putting up 2 grain bins and then a 2-stall cold storage garage. Everything looked good on there. It's under, it's gonna be over 100,000, so it was a $50 fee. They paid that. Everything looks good on that building permit. And then Cindy Miller and Sharon Township. Yeah, you can if you want that one. You guys should have a copy of that one. Is they're gonna be replacing 3 windows, but she also had said that they're gonna be adding an addition onto this house. And it's Cluster Farms is where it's located. So Cindy Miller is a mortgage holder. She had submitted the building permit for these people. That looked good. And then the 2 additional building permits. One is for Chelsea and Lance Strawby. I just looked these over. They're adding a garage and entry to the house. And that looked good. They paid the fee for that. That was $25. And then Mark Peterson is going to be building an egg shop. So that will be farm exempt once it's built, but they have to pay the building permit. And that's gonna be 900,000, and that was a $50 fee, and they paid that as well, and that looked good. Any questions on the building permits? I'll pass those 2 around. You guys don't have copies of those.
We do them all at once. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second to approve all the building permits, so the 4 that we have heard so far. Mark Peterson, Lance Strebe, Cindy Miller, and Josh Austinson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I have to sign these? Amy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
And then, I did talk to Charlie also about these abatements or refunded taxes that were included in your packet as well. For Carol and Peter Mickelson, they did sell 11.68 acres. 11.85 acres to their son John and Jill Nicholson back in 2008. Yeah, back in February 19th of 2008. The deed or the split was never done back in 2008, has not been done since. The daughter came in kind of questioning it because they're selling the house there. And looking back into past deeds, it was missed by the county. It was 100% the county's error back in 2008. So Peter and Carol were paying the taxes that John and Jill should have been paying. With abatements, we can only go 3 years back. So I do request that we do refund the difference to Peter and Carol of those 3 years. And then I did talk to Charlie, and Charlie is having me write a letter to John and Jill requesting them to pay the county that difference. Since there still is accountability, the county's gonna lose that money if John and Jill don't pay it. I did talk to Ann Big, who is the daughter, who is the one that came in and brought all this stuff up. They said she had tried to talk to her brother to get him to pay the parents, but it will not work that way. So I do request that you guys do approve this. I am sending the John and Jill a letter. I want Charlie to review it before I send it to make sure it's okay.
So you said 3 years, Amy, what was the total of the 3 years? I see 185.
159.82 for 2019, 170.94 for 2020, and 185.99 for 21.
Oh, okay.
But it does go back all the way to 2008. So that's a long time that
Mhm.
it had not been done.
Right, yeah.
Do you have any questions on?
It's all straightened out now, though.
Yes, it's correct in our system now.
I'll make that motion. We pay Peter and Carol the money we owe him. And then send a letter out to
Send the
John.
letter. If they don't pay it, we're gonna have to. Cross the bridge when we get there.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the abatements for Peter and Carol Mickelson. A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I have nothing else. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
So you sign here, here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Charlie, you got anything to add to the meeting start with now?
Need to add?
Yeah.
Let me just double check to see. No, I don't.
Okay,
Just what's on the agenda.
okay, right, yeah. So Amy, you wanna, or Emily, you wanna do your auditor stuff,
Sure.
election update, friendly days update and all this stuff?
Election update, the abstract after canvassing was what was passed around for you guys to review. We are complete and have sent everything to the state with our final canvas numbers. As some of you or all of you may already know, I was not able to be here on election day. I did speak with, or let two commissioners know that, as well as the Secretary of State's office. I did receive a call back from the Secretary of State's office last week, and they did compliment the girls on doing a wonderful job. So that is that. We move on starting August with the November election. So we have a slight break in July before we begin with the November election
So
already.
let's go back to the election, because I was getting phone calls myself of people not getting ballots. Wondering, especially for the city side. I don't know what was really going on because I wasn't there, so.
Okay, so you received calls about the
Yes.
City of Hope ballot?
Yes, City Hope, and then I also did receive my the school ballot, the absentee ballot the night before. So if I filled it out and brought it in, it was invalid, of course, so we're trying to figure that out too. So walk me through the process there of how we do that with the absentee pieces, I guess.
The absentee pieces are received from the entities that wish for us to send out their absentee stuff.
Okay,
So the City of Hope certifies their ballot to me,
okay,
and I take it just as it was presented to me. Same thing with
And then
MPCG.
how are they distributed?
They are distributed with the ballots when we mail them out, if they've requested it on their application.
Okay, what about the school?
Same process.
But the school mails them out, correct?
The school has always handled you're talking about Hope Page.
Yes.
Okay, that's different than other school districts. So Finley, Sheridan, Hope Page have always handled their own school board elections.
Yep.
Okay, we have never sent them out for them previously.
Okay.
So
No, I know the
MPCG
county, I know the county does.
MPCG has always sent their ballot to us certified, and we have always included that with our ballots. Just depends on the jurisdiction, and the entity, how it's done.
How does the school know that someone needs a absentee ballot?
You'd have to ask the school that.
I did. It has to come through the county.
We sent them everything we had when she asked for it.
When?
I don't know the date. When she asked for it, we sent them.
Okay.
And I did speak with Ally, and I also talked with April. And like April said to me, that 2020 with COVID changed everything with how they process their
Well,
elections.
the issue is here is that I want to make sure that everybody gets to vote on what they want to vote or what they're legally able to vote on.
Correct.
That is 100% what we're shooting for. So I mean, whatever the mix up was, or however, I'm not saying it's the county's fault. I'm not saying it's not the school's fault, but something went awry there within that issues there that were coming up, that people weren't getting what they thought they were supposed to get.
Correct.
So we just need to make sure that is cleaned up.
Well, I think the issues that are about to be relative to that school one is that school relies on the auditor's office to advise them of who is requested absentee ballots. And it's, I think it's a timing thing. Check the trail, and what they do is they send requests for absentee ballots for school elections the day they get them. They process them every day.
Right, and once we had that request, we did do that.
I don't know when Brandon requested the absentee ballot.
Well, we got our county one back, within time. Because the school one was late, so by the time I had to go in there and vote, which is fine. I don't.
When you sent your absentee request in, it's requested.
Yep.
So it's a timing.
Yep.
The schools do also have slightly different laws for their elections and their processes than we do, and I don't follow up on that. I follow up on what we're responsible for here. Whether they're running an absentee portion, they or previously have not, is not something I was aware of. So,
We're just talking about what happened here.
yep,
That's what
I'm
we did.
just,
We're trying to,
I've spoke with Ally in April, and we've all agreed that we're gonna do it differently. I've told them if they're willing and want us to certify their election also, they want to send us the ballot, more than happy. It's easier, it saves postage to just include it with ours. The ballots we did receive for the schools, some came back here. We did make sure they got them right away as well.
How about the whole issue?
My understanding was there were 8 people that had gone through and checked in to vote. That apparently there was a couple that stated they did not receive the ballot, the Hope City ballot. Those people were contacted and they were given ballots or the option to vote. None of my staff on election day handle or touch ballots.
So
Those are the
Your
district,
election people.
not the county. The district representatives, the Republican representative, as well as the Democratic representative, which are appointed by those political parties, are in charge of all ballots on election day.
Okay, so you have clerks and you have judges, right?
Correct.
Okay, so people come in, they check in for the clerks,
Correct.
register, and then they're given a precinct number. And then they go to the judges. and the
They're given a
judges-
slip of paper.
And judges are given that slip of paper,
Correct.
and they're supposed to be given the correct ballots for that.
Correct.
precinct. And there was like 7 or 8 people that came in to vote and were Hope residents and not given Hope ballots. Right?
That is my understanding. I was not there, but that's
Well, you
what I
have- You
understand.
have your staff, and they followed up on it. I know you talked to them about it, and we just telling you that there are people who were happy about what's going on. And my understanding then is that your staff or the election judges or whoever contacted those people and told they were supposed to have gotten the Hope ballot. And my understanding is that they were then somehow given ballots away from the polling place. And what happened there?
The city,
Right, so
the city auditor provided them the ballot, the same ballot he certified to us.
that wasn't a polling place. That wasn't a certified noted polling place. So was that sanctioned by the state? Did they say that was okay to allow people to vote away from the certified polling place?
I could ask Amy, I know, or Amy and Carly, I know that somebody did call the state.
So what happened with those ballots that were filled out in Hope away from Steele certified polling place? collect them? How are the integrity of those ballots maintained? I think that's the concern. And in fact, they didn't get the ballots for some reason. And I'm assuming, do you go through training with your clerks and your judges
We
before?
do.
So it's didn't.
One of them was new, a new representative that we have never had before for our election, so.
New on the day of the election or new into the whole process and that person went through training?
They went through training, yes. New to the entire process before our, I believe it was 2.5 hour training they received.
So what happened with so the
My
ballots?
understanding, I believe they were put into secrecy envelopes just as any absentee ballot would have been.
Someone delivered them to your office then?
I believe so.
Or didn't ask?
It was handled. They said they had talked to you.
Oh,
They have also talked to the state. I know that you were requesting to speak with Carly
right.
that day.
So I was getting calls about people not getting
Right.
ballots. And we can go through the whole conversation if you want. It didn't go smooth, I can tell you that.
Why don't we call in the two people who were here? I apologized already to the commissioners. I had a family emergency. I was not able to be here.
What the issue is
Okay.
here is that we cannot have this happen in November. And for other elections that we have, they seem to gone fairly well, even the one before, and we just need to make sure that the process is correct and that we're doing it correct. That's exactly
Right.
the only thing. You just can't go
Everybody,
off over here and that, and to get phone calls because people aren't getting ballots. That's the main point, is that everybody can legally go vote for what they need to vote for that day.
Correct.
That is the sole, and I don't care whose fault it is, whose thing it is. It's just, let's get it figured out so everybody can do it.
it was an honest mistake.
Yep. And it's as long as we got it.
Steps were taken to correct that. Charlie, being in the conversation at the time it was happening, I had confidence that you were, from a legal standpoint,
Right, so
on top of it
so
as
here's
well.
what happened. I started getting calls, while you bring that up, I started getting calls from Jenny saying that people were calling her office from Hope because they weren't given the Hope ballot. And I said, who's calling? I said, and she said there was a local banker in Hope that was getting notices from Hope citizens. I said, have that person call me. So that person called me, and I remember her name right now. And I said, okay, I'll make some calls. So I called, Carly was up in the, as a, whatever she was.
She's the inspector. She's not
Inspector.
allowed to leave the election room.
And so I said, Jenny, go up and ask Carly to call me. So Jenny went up to talk to Carly about calling me, and Carly told her, I can't call until after 7. I go, Jenny, tell her this is, and I tried to call the auditor's office, no answer. I said, you tell her this is an election issue, on election day, and I'm the state's attorney, and we're having issues, I need to talk to her. So then finally, she did call back and said she wasn't aware of anybody not getting ballots for Hope. And I said, well, there's people who, remember she's up there, Emily, you're shaking your nod, your head,
Right.
she's up there. And I said, well, there are people that did not get Hope ballots. She said, I'll check into it. And I just told her, I said, Carly, I don't want to have another election. I want this to be rectified because we don't want to have another election because our election wasn't held properly. And so then I didn't hear anything after that. And then a while later, Amy called me later in the afternoon and said that there were, I believe her statement was there were 8, they checked the polling registers that were up in the courthouse, who had checked in, and there were 8 people, I believe, so she said, that came in from Hope that did not get Hope ballots. And I said, what are you doing? What are you gonna do with that? She said, we contacted all of them, they're gonna go vote at the city. And I said, is there city polling place. She said, no. And I said, do you know if that's appropriate? She said, well, we can't, no one will get a hold of it. Can't get hold of anybody at the state. So we have to protect our election day. Well, you guys do what you think you need to do. And that's the last thing.
So what did the state finally say afterwards?
I've heard.
Okay, to get this straight now, these people came from Hope up to Finley here to vote,
Yes,
and they didn't get the ballots from upstairs.
right.
Why didn't they get the ballots from upstairs if they had the ballots there, right?
They got the wrong one.
No,
No,
they
didn't
got,
get a ballot. So
the
city-
paper ballot
Brian, the
that
city
you
has their
insert.
own little election ballot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a separate ballot.
it's not like Finley.
And then, so they come in, they register with the clerks, and they give them their precinct number. And then they go to the judges are to hand out the appropriate ballots for that person. They did that, they didn't give, I don't know how many people came voted, but there was 8 of them that didn't get the double ballot.
What, did they address it that day
Mhm.
up here? Those Hope people,
No.
they didn't address it up here, but
They didn't.
they drove back to Hope and then they filed a complaint back then.
With
Right,
somebody
because
at
they
the
didn't know-
bank.
they
With
didn't know-
somebody at the
they
bank
didn't
then.
know- wait, they didn't know if they were supposed, why they didn't get a whole ballot.
Did they mark it on the thing that said they wanted the whole ballot?
That's the precinct, when you check in, you go there to judges, and the judges say, here it is, here your ballots.
Well, when we got our,
they ask about that?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I mean, they would, they should know.
you shouldn't have to.
They shouldn't have to. No, I know that.
we get a
They
ballot, we
should
got
call
the
the
check.
auditor's office.
There were people calling your office, there was no one answering that.
We got a
That's why they
thing
were
from
calling
the
Jenny,
county
that's why they called
to
city's office.
check every one we wanted, and Hope one was on there.
That's your absentee ballot.
That's
Don't
absentee
confuse that with
Okay,
going to the board.
So how many different ballots were there for Hope?
One.
Just one.
It was a
Yep.
half a sheet of paper ballot
I'm in a meeting.
in color.
What was that for?
That
Everything
was
all
for
right?
their city
Yeah, what was it?
council and park board,
Okay, do that. Yeah, I'll call you.
And they
Okay.
didn't get that?
Yeah, bye.
correct.
They had them up here, but they didn't get handed out to those 8 people,
Correct.
right?
So let's,
So those 8 people.
where was the
two-
mix, where was the mix up at? That's what where. Like you said, you come in, you give them your card, they know where you're
Right.
at, you know, you get your.
They were the first people voting of the day, is my understanding, and it was just an oversight by the judges.
Okay. So then, do we have that situation rectified?
Correct.
Did you ever get an answer back from the state about whether that was proper?
Amy? For Carly? When I received a call from the state and they said that they did a fantastic job,
Were they
I
aware of what
under-
happened though?
yes,
We're aware that we're given ballots from Hope and we voted in Hope, not in one place.
correct.
As long as we got everything corrected and everything else and stuff, it should be a.
I would imagine you're gonna have the same judges, and clerks, or
For November.
One of the political parties has the same representative. The other one is changing representatives for the fall. And there is nothing I can do about that. We will go through it with them.
so
We
the
went
training
through
should
it.
be-
We went through it
yeah.
in the training. We'll revisit it election morning
Yep.
with them.
There should be many legislation that the elections in November. On ballot.
Correct, unless there's any special elections. Carly, to your knowledge, I know Amy's on a phone call right now and she's
Sit in
gonna
the
come in when
microphone.
she can, but. Did the state, or do you know how the ballots got from Hope to here?
Yes, Lori Tweet.
And they were in secrecy envelopes.
Yes, they were sealed up. Their inside was a sheet that had their name, address, all their information inside that Charles had kept track of.
And the Secretary of State's office was in contacted that day and they were aware.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, and I also talked to Brian about that night.
Okay.
And since they're not an optical ballot, the process that we did was just fine.
They were okay with that?
We've talked to the state.
Brian Nybach. I believe Brian Nybach or Brian Newby. I wasn't on the phone with him, so.
You're right.
I was not the one on the phone with him, so I'm not sure which Brian it was.
So was Brian. what's his last name?
Nybakken or Newby.
Bottom line, my concern that day was, I did not want to have an issue that would cause us to have to.
Yeah.
Step in, because people calling in. I thought it was important to try to get things rectified.
Who made the call to say, Amy?
Yes, I believe so. I was inspecting all day, so I didn't get to leave the courtroom.
As long as the call was made to the state and they had approved it, there should be
And just,
no issue. I mean,
Charlie, I know that you needed to talk to her and that's something we can absolutely clear up in the future too, but none of the poll workers are allowed their phones in the election room either. So she wasn't allowed her cell phone and that would be part of why she said I couldn't call you till 7 p.m. So understand you needed it rectified immediately, but that's where some of the confusion came in.
But isn't it responsible for the voter themselves? I mean, to wait instead of the day of an election? They knew they didn't have it. Why didn't they say something earlier?
And these are
Correct.
people who came in, they didn't vote absentee or anything like, they came in to vote in the general, the primary and that day. They didn't ask for.
I don't think they're very responsible if that's the case. They were doing it. There's some human error there other than blaming these guys. I think there was some
I don't
screw up
think,
down
I don't
there.
think we're really blaming
We're not blaming
anybody.
anybody.
Is what
Well, it sounds like you're
the-
blaming everybody.
The process needs to get figured out. That has to be figured out.
Well,
There's no other question. If somebody comes in here to vote, legally what they're supposed to vote for, they can get them sheets. That is what that needs to happen, no matter what.
What would have happened? What would be the process if they would have voted and then walked out of the courtroom and then decided that, oh, we forgot city one?
They didn't forget it, they just weren't giving it, but.
Well, they didn't say anything until they got back to Hope.
If you go back
Well,
in,
that's part of my concern too, is I don't know why our office was contacted. There was a whole different line of communication. Nobody contacted the auditor's office
There's
who was running
nobody
the
there.
election.
There were people trying to call.
There's nobody there.
Amy was in the office all
Amy
day
was in the
long.
office
she
and
was
She
not.
did,
Amy was in the office and upstairs and downstairs all day.
So she wasn't in the office all day, she was in the office and upstairs, so she was, she wasn't in it, I was, you can bring Jenny, Jenny was getting calls from people from home. And that person called me.
It's also because our auditor was with a sick husband and everything else and stuff and not here. So we were down one person too there. So that is also a reason why there wasn't anybody in the office all
And if there
day
wasn't
long.
anyone in the office, they could have walked right upstairs, back upstairs instead of going to another office and.
or left a message and it is returned promptly.
Okay,
Yes,
as long as
somebody
we
leaves the office.
got all this figured out,
Yeah, we
I'm
didn't.
all right with that.
The city was okay with it.
State's okay with it.
Good enough.
I agree.
So I think
Yep.
we've got it covered now and stuff. So
Thanks,
we
Thanks,
got,
Charlie. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank
got
you.
everything for the future here with,
The water board's here too, so I think
yeah.
we can wait for 15.
Well, we'll bring up that later. If we want the water board in there now, we'll start with them.
Hey, Greg.
Morning.
Morning, Greg.
Morning.
I'll make it short and sweet.
Sure.
We just
Solo
wanted,
today.
Take one.
what's that?
Solo today.
Yep. Yeah, our meeting is next week, so. I just want to thank you guys for the money for the drain 11 repair. Right now, it's working the way, I mean, we had to reroute it. And then last week, I haven't been up there, but they put they're supposed to put a better fence up around there just to keep people from
You're fine.
going in and out of there as much as there is. I haven't seen it, so, but they did say it was done at the end of last week, so.
Okay.
Other than that, it's not really, just want to say thank you.
So now everything goes south, Greg,
Yep, it,
south and east then,
no water goes through his driveway right now, other than just,
goes around the cemetery then. That way,
it's on the south side of the cemetery now, on the
On the-
south side of Township Road.
on the south side of that road.
Yep.
Right,
It goes in a completely different channel.
Okay. That's, yeah.
We'll wait to see what we come up with for, I would imagine more engineers talking to FEMA and everything on what a permanent outlet will look like.
Well, what's what do you say, the timeline or whatever for the president to declare us a national disaster for FEMA on this?
I was gonna talk about that, but, so right now, everything that was actually, approved by Region 8 down in Denver. So everything sits on the president's desk right now. So truthfully, it depends on when the president decides to sign it. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be next week. We're expecting next week is when the declaration will start. From there, then, like the townships, for instance, would have 60 days, 60 days to get all the damages submitted. So we're estimating to have everything completed, all the damages at least in by what, was that September, October? It was a long process. We know that, we've done this before.
Right, yep.
But everything is submitted, it is in, all of our stuff. The county was included in that disaster declaration. So we had enough on the highway department side to submit to about $123,000 and some change damages on our end that we were able to do. A lot of the damages that we had and more did damages on 8 and a couple of other roads were not included because they're FHA road, FHA federal highway roads, and those have a different limit of what they can and can't do. So I think a lot of those out, but county, for instance, that was included in the federal highway.
We have plenty of documentation, footages, the pictures, all this stuff for all this.
We do on the county side for sure, and then that's the conversation we've been having with the water boards to make sure that's all complete, that's all done. I know we've been dealing with this for years. So they're not all figured out.
Yeah, and more engineering did a survey, or they went and inspected all the drains, so they should have pictures of everything.
Okay,
So the water board is definitely covered.
okay, good. Yeah.
Then I think, was it the last time that president signed the declaration, it was in the middle of July too? Yeah. So
it's pretty common, middle of July. You know, the state's got it, we go to the state for everything, state does their stuff, and then they pass it on to Region 8. What actually happened this go around is that Region 8 was doing an audit on the state this year. So everything kind of almost got expedited by about 3 weeks with the region. So pretty happy that happened, but now we're consistent with the president. It was actually given to the president in June. So it's been on his desk now for a week and a half. So.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other questions for Greg?
Can
Or
we,
Reed?
can we get on your guys' agenda for next month?
Maybe.
Maybe. What do we gotta do?
Come here, show up. Call Emily.
July 19th as well. Your guys from there.
Send Tasha an email. She's better at reminding than I am. Too much stuff going on. All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
guys.
thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
Reed, you want to move in for interstate spot there and stuff?
I got, you guys had a chance to look over the pavement stuff?
This what, yeah, this was in your packet.
One. I just take one past the rest. These are just
Just one, yeah.
okay. Thank you.
I had, we'd emailed you guys a copy of this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
too. I just figured it's easier to look at it with paper. Need one of these two, Ted.
Okay. One of these.
One of these.
Pass them. Oh,
Yeah,
This was included in your guys' pack.
yeah, I gave you guys, we emailed it to you guys too. So. So what we have here is, on County Road 23, they have them itemized out. Each company does. For each spot, there's 5 spots on County Road 23. And Tri-State Paving come to a total, just on County Road 23, $245. And Zavarro, with the same measurements and stuff, they come with $63,000. And then the additional portion of that is the culvert that we are putting in on County Road 8, north of 23. Zavarro's had a price of $11,800 for the asphalt and placing the asphalt in. And Tri-State Paving had $11,840. The cheaper bid price between these two companies together to do the whole thing, County Road 8 and County Road 23, all that includes 6 spots then altogether. That would be $63,085 with Tri-State Paving. Zavarro's for all 6 places is $74,800.
Want to go back on 23, what's the issue there that we're having? Is the culverts that were installed or?
Yes, they're all dipped. And during this spring meeting, it was brought up, from the farmers in that area. And they were complaining, what's happening is if they don't slow down, like their combine snouts on their headers will flip up, the diggers, and stuff. I mean, it's not real bad on a car, but with some of the farm machinery and stuff
Are
like
they,
that.
are they wrecking the road surface when they drag some of them implements through there, or is it dragging on the backside?
No, it's just rough. It's just a bump down,
Was it worse this spring and better now, or is it the same?
pretty much the same.
Between the two.
Yeah, that's the only one that disappears. That's water underneath the road there. That's been like that for years.
Yeah.
So. Just,
Do you have any money in your budget?
There's some money in asphalt, to do some of it, but not the $63,000 for it.
and then like that 11,000, that there should be, that'll be covered underneath through FEMA, right?
No, because that's not a FEMA project.
That's
County Road 8?
on County
You
Road
said
8.
8 isn't.
It's under federal highway, so it's
Will they pay that?
different. It should be. I included all the dollar amounts.
Yeah, we've got all that figured in on it.
But we don't know for sure.
We don't know.
So we could probably get reimbursed for that.
When would we know that?
We're not talking Mike, just get everything into the system. I'll talk to Mike. I'll see.
What's the lead time on this?
What's that?
What's the lead time for them to do it?
This would be done in like September.
You would know by then?
For sure, yeah. With federal declaration, on the FEMA side of things, federal highways already submitted their stuff, so I've never worked on the federal highway stuff before, truthfully. Side, so I'm gonna.
We would need to at least do that County Road 8 project this year.
Yeah, I think we just do County Road 8 for right now and then find out. I mean, 60 grand is a lot of money, 50, 60 grand.
Yeah, I just,
Let's see if County Road 8 gets covered. That gets covered, then we can go back to this and see if we.
That's
Sometimes
north
even
of
patches.
23, isn't it? When you're talking?
yeah.
Sometimes even patches, if they're not done right, they're more rough.
Well, these are, I mean, they've had real good luck with these guys. Doing,
So there's only one thing on County Road 8.
yeah.
The rest are all
Restaurant
23,
County Road
right?
23. Yep.
When do you plan on doing County Road 8 patch? September?
Yeah. They would, I mean, if
Are these prices contingent on them getting all of it? Or
no,
will they just do that one?
Never always.
Yeah.
It says it on there. On the county.
So the one on County Road 8 now is the one that it's closed. The road is closed right now.
yes,
And that is replacing that culvert then.
yep,
Who's doing that? Lakeside?
yeah.
I don't see where it's tied together. Right, so-
Right on the
Okay,
opposite.
yeah, I see it, yep.
French Valley, what they call it. So.
Tri-state, but it could be there.
They're only $40 difference.
I think it's something to look at if they're there. is not cool with decent pavement up there too. So.
Well, these are the ones that are doing County Road 11, right?
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I agree with Richard. Let's look into that a little bit more and I think we can kind of decide if we want to go further on County Road 23 or look into that maybe for a next year thing. I don't know.
I agree.
Let's see if they're gonna pay that County Road 8, if that, then maybe we can scrounge up something.
Scrounge up something to-
It's just gonna probably cost more in another year, but
Well, that's true. Maybe look at that too, yeah.
let's see what happens with. And then just revalue.
Yeah, look, I mean, we can look at it again even next month or whatever. We'll know more by then.
When was County Road 23 redone?
2 years.
That was CCI or CSI.
No, but what year was it?
Well, that was the other one.
It's Knife River.
19,
Knife River did the east one.
2019.
Knife River did the east part.
Yeah, Knife River did Daly. And Central Specialties did this and then they did the whole thing. The- Down in front of Randy Richards. 2019. And then I was gonna, down on County Road 1, down south of Ted's there, the slough that has been kind of for years, I guess, right, Ted?
Yep.
That's down, I mean, it was earlier, it was lapping the gravel up the top of the road edge and stuff. And that water goes to the south through the CRP across the road. It goes to the township road, then it goes to the west, about a quarter of a mile. And then there's a gated, they got a gate there on a culvert. It goes underneath the township road and then it goes across and a field and that goes down into the creek. Well, that drain needs to be cleaned out a little bit to where it'll flow decent. And I'm just wondering if I could get at least a day's worth of trackle to help that farmers fund that so that we could get a little relief off of our County Road 1. Like if I could get up to $2,000 or something to add for cleaning of the drain down there so that we could get some relief. What do you think, Ted?
Well, I told you, we tried that a long time ago, and the people in Cass County are the ones that stopped us.
As long as, like, what I've talked with the farmers down there, as long as we're not dredging it out.
Yep.
I mean, all we're doing is cleaning the silt out, through the silt line. And
Have you talked to water board?
no, this is not a water board thing.
Whether they should maybe get involved with it?
Well, I don't know, it's a county road, it's affecting the county road. And then it was even higher and then we built it up, well, then it got worse. Well, when we went to come, then the people in the first mile that live south there from Cass County come and said they were gonna sue the county if we touched that road.
Sounds like
And
we better have our ducks in a row before.
well, right, but I don't know why we can't. Should be able to do something to get it down into the Maple and then get it out. And that's what it is. It's a Maple River.
Yeah.
And it's right south of that dam. So right on the township line. There's County line, I should say.
There's Barnes going right there.
Yeah, there's three places. Yeah. You got Barnes, Cass, and Steele involved in it.
Yeah.
If it But there should be a way we can get
Well,
rid of the water, or at least get it down to keep flowing.
I think we better make sure we got permission or.
We better
just don't
talk to the
do it. I
water
mean, we
board.
gotta.
Yeah, we can't do
There's
it.
gonna be lawyers involved and everything. Let's make sure we got our.
It might be that way. But that's what it got to be before, that we were gonna get sued.
You wanna do a little more investigating on that? That'd be good. I get a feeling
I don't wanna get in trouble.
you bring a track go down there, there's gonna be some people talking.
Well, that's what,
Well, Mike Whitmore owns the land.
yeah, and he said that he would, well, go and talk to them.
But then you get Mike Stanky in the Barnes County one, Mike Stanky's involved.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what you gotta do going through Muses, but that was all taken,
that Young guys,
that was all taken care of before, but still it got stopped,
Yeah.
so.
it's a lot, I mean, I just,
Well, we also need to protect our county road too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is-
Right.
that is-
Absolutely.
you
We do
know,
have rights to protect
we
that
do.
road.
we're gonna have lots of, I mean, what it is, the muskrats will start in there pretty
Yep.
soon. And then they start boring in there, and then we got cave-ins on the side and stuff, and so. I'll look at it, I'll talk to them guys a little more,
See if,
and,
see what we can do there and, you know, like you said, we're not gonna dredge it out. It's just dig the top
Just
off, clean it
want to
up.
get the water to run, not
Just
to,
just enough to get it to trickle down in there.
Yeah.
Gets the pressure off the county road.
good. It'd help too if they quit farming through the drain too. Because-
oh, Mike doesn't really drain that much, but it just, it sets in there.
Well, by having that culvert open, it floods this whole other corridor down there to where he had to shut the gate in order for him to seed it, you know, and then they go in and they mud it in, and then like now he'll open up the gate again, so it'll slowly trickle through there, and not enough to hurt his crop, but just enough to kind of using it like an irrigator right now, you know, I mean, but it's kind of miserable farming when you got all this water up here and the land down here, it just stays saturated, you know.
Yep.
But
The thing is too, from FEMA standpoint, is the flood does happen and it does just say take out that road. FEMA's gonna come back and say, well, this, we're not gonna cover this specific piece because that was a maintenance problem that you guys should have taken care of a while ago. So that's where you're at, you get the point on the county road, and that's where, even on a FEMA standpoint, they're gonna say, no, that was your responsibility before, why didn't you do it?
So we can get a letter from FEMA to tell us to do it then?
Ted, do you remember on how they went through County Road 25? And they buried the line, you know, to drain the slough there. Do you
Yeah.
remember? That was a lot, wasn't it? It had to go through water. Through the water resource.
Yep, they had to bury it because the guy didn't want the water sitting on his, so but yet he would allow it to drop, but that's going into Griggs.
That was, because I've met with him, you know, now we've had to open that. His drain level that he had figured was too high. It put too much pressure on our road all the time for relief. Now the way we have it, at least the water goes down in on County Road 25. And they're okay with that, because
Yeah.
but I know that we're dealing with a lot of entities. I'll talk to the water board too.
Yeah, I would get them on board
I
with
don't
it.
think it would hurt.
So, okay. If that's all that I have. You guys have any other questions?
Any other questions for Reed?
Thanks, Reed.
Okay, thanks, Reed.
Thanks, Reed.
Yep.
We have to.
15 minutes, Ted. 15 minutes.
You already talked to 5.
Yeah.
7, got it. Ready?
Morning.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna milk this 7 minutes. I'm not asking for anything today, right? That's gotta be a good news. Just updates today. So wanted to talk about the flood. We talked about that a little bit. We had 43 total sites that were submitted to FEMA for processing. 13 of those sites are on federal highway roads. So if you guys remember the federal highway roads, it's basically all of our blacktop and a few county roads, gravel. The only thing, because federal highway has a different limit and a different process, anything over $5,000 in damages can be included on a federal highway disaster project. When we looked at them, the only ones that really met that $5,000 threshold were the site 2, which is up on County 8, and then site 24, which is County Road 5 West Bridge. I got yelled at for calling it Kruger Bridge, so calling it County Road 5 West Bridge. Those are the only 2 because we couldn't really prove that the bridge was damaged because of the flood. I talked a lot with Mike about it, and we decided just to remove that. And then with the process that we have right now in that other application with that bridge, we decided to leave it alone. So the only one that we included on the federal highway stuff was the County Road 8 project that's up north there. So when you do the math, that leaves us 13 total sites that we have about $123,000 of damage on. All of these sites have been repaired.
That's not your notes.
From
Okay.
my understanding. So it makes it a little easier on our end when this is all said and done, because it goes from a work to be completed to a work completed. It makes the process a lot easier. Like I said before, the Fed deck has been requested. It sits with the president at this time. We're hoping next week we should have some sort of approval. Once it's approved, we have 60 days to get all of our damage finalized. That includes all the townships, the water board, every other Steele County entity that wants to apply. That includes them. So we're looking at that mid-September probably, when we'll have to have all those damages in. From there, it's a FEMA. That information you sort of have right now? Probably 50%, give or take. I have quite a few townships that have already submitted stuff. There's some that have told me they have everything done. They just haven't submitted it. It's kind of just to sit and wait. And the townships that I've talked to almost all of them, not every one of them yet, but I've talked to almost all of them and kind of given them the loop of here's where we're at with stuff. I'm not really after you right now, but if you have time, that would be the perfect time to do it, you know? So that's where we're at with it right now. Any questions on the flood stuff? More to come on that, basically. Fed disaster percentage. So Biden signed an executive order, and I missed this one, but it was back in May, that allowed for FEMA to cover up to 90% of their costs for any disaster declared between January of 2020 through December of 2021. So the 2020 flood was done in 2021, so or late 2020, so it got included in this. So instead of the 75% that FEMA covers, they now cover 90%, so that extra 15%, which is awesome. The state then went from their 10% down to 3%. So if you do the math on it, we only owe, or we only have, not owe, but we only, our cost share is 7% now. So the money, we actually got money back, is what I'm trying to say, from the 2020 flood. We got $6,579.23 back from the 2020 flood with all of these changes. So that's going to go back to the townships, is where we'll go to. It affects a lot of our other applications and a lot of the other stuff we have in play right now, because a lot of our hazard mitigation projects, for instance, the applications that we've done, like the County Road 5 West Bridge, that was included under 2020 and 2021 disaster declarations. So for instance, instead of the 85-15 split of what we were expecting for the County Road 5 bridge, we're now looking at a 93-7 split. So our total cost share is going to decrease with that bridge.
That'd be good.
That's my good news for the day. See, I bring nothing but good news today. So more to come on that. Speaking of the County Road 5 West Bridge, I was really hoping I'd be able to come and tell you that we're all approved and ready to go. I did hear word from the state that everything on their end, they've jumped through all the hoops and they have no, FEMA actually has no more questions for us in the process. So right now they said it's sitting on the regional administrator's desk and he's just got to sign off on it. So that's where we're at. If he signs off on it, then come back to you guys and let you know. If he doesn't, I'll let you know, but that's where we sit. He has full authority to accept or deny on his end. So state's about 99% sure that we're gonna get it. I'm not counting my chickens until they hatch. That's where we're at. If that does come in, you guys got some meetings, another meeting coming up in July, right?
July 19th.
Okay. So if that comes in and it's in the middle of your guys' meetings, I'll try to hold them off, but I want to basically accept the grant right away is kind of my thought process on it. I don't know if you guys feel the same or you don't.
Yep, we do.
Yep. Okay. The generator, Tyler was here last week. We talked about the generator. It's not confirmed yet. I got to check with him still. He talked to Reed a little bit, but he wants to try and get the basement stuff started. He's going to do it on off hours, off business hours. So at night and on the weekends. So his thought was to start it this weekend. He's got some stuff to finish up in Aberdeen. He's hoping to be done this week. And then our project's next, basically. So he's already talked to Reed, he said, and had some conversations. I got to, once I confirm with him that when he's going to start, I'll let you guys know. But he was thinking this weekend that could change. I don't know.
So that's gonna be west of the sidewalk over
Yeah.
here
Yes.
and stuff?
Yep.
Okay. And then who's doing the construction part of the framing for the generator to sit on or whatever?
We were going to have Lakeside work with our highway guys
Okay,
to get all that figured out.
I know you guys had temporary said that and stuff. I was just wondering if it was finalized.
That's my understanding is that that's how that's going to work. And I think they're still waiting on. Tyler wants to get a lot of stuff done in the basement because he wants to clean it up a little bit before we move to actually installing the generator. So I know he's got a little bit of work down there to get finished before we actually go into the concrete and set it, right? Is that your understanding? Yep. Okay. On the grants, so when we talk about, are we talking about budgets today? Okay. I'm gonna save you some money. I'm gonna reduce mine by about 130,000, give or take. At some point, we'll talk about that later, but I applied for a couple $100,000 in grants. I only got it like 17,000 conditionally approved, so kind of a big slap in the face, but it is what it is. We got money, so the majority of that, it's about $250,000 that was not approved, and that was all cybersecurity enhancements and investments. I was told that there's a cybersecurity grant coming, specifically cybersecurity grant that's coming at the end of the summer, and that's where our funding is going to be pushed into. So we'll see what comes with that.
When's that? End of summer?
End of summer. This stuff would be next year start anyways. We got some trainings coming up with the fire departments, July 26th down in Hope. Hoping to cut up some buses. Search and rescue training here in Finley and with Hope on August 13th. That's all I got. Any questions?
We should maybe reach out to the townships and just give them a reminder. The paperwork's gonna be needed pretty soon.
It's on my list. Yeah. Is that text message stuff working okay? Is that, do you like that?
Works fine for me.
Anything else for Ben? Anybody have?
Might as well go through the EMS vehicle damage while you're here.
So it was found, and I didn't know about this, so it was news to me. It was found that there was some damage on the passenger side of the pickup. I came and I talked to Charlie about it. He's the one who called me and told me about it. Talked to him, so I really have no idea what the heck would have happened, when it would have happened, what the damage is. Truthfully, I don't look at the passenger side of the vehicle all that much. Probably should more. Anyways, went out there when I got back to work on that Tuesday, looked at it, took some pictures, sent it over to Charlie. It's a scrape and a couple of dents. It looks like somebody was trying to back into a parking space and hit it and then pulled out again. Got everything written up, took some pictures, got an estimate, sent everything over to Charlie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that
If
around?
you look at it, it's just the passenger door. This little thing that, clear to me that either someone pulling into a spot or back. out of a spot.
Did it happen here or we don't know where?
Was that around Finley days?
It was noticed after Finley days.
And you have to see decide whether you're gonna fix it. When I looked at the truck, it already has some heat that's faded off. Or
It's part of the,
there's other parts of the truck. I think it's on the driver's side. But there's other parts of the truck, like the passenger side, that also have some heat that's-
I would agree. I don't know that it's worth fixing. I mean, if that's something that,
So do we
How many
got
miles on it?
cameras in the back parking lot there?
yes, cameras are in the back parking lot. My understanding is that that was gonna be taken care of by Travis. I know Wayne talked to Travis on the phone. I was in there with him when I talked to him, and Travis was gonna handle it. I don't know whatever came of that.
Of them being fixed?
Yeah.
They're fixed.
Oh,
They were fixed before the election.
But
don't do
after,
anything with the
but
camera.
after the accident.
I don't know. I don't know when it happened.
What's our deductible on that? Do we know?
Can we go back and look in the cameras then, or maybe it didn't even happen here?
Very possible.
So,
I would have noticed about it hit something.
Yeah, right.
There's no way that.
You took it home.
Certain things, like this one, I don't know how you did, you would still drive it, almost a bit straight and back passenger.
We know that's not.
Just driving an ambulance or fire truck, whatever, it's fine. It's cool.
How much is our deductible?
well, it's like $2,700, isn't it?
Right.
If you're gonna fix that, then you might as well have them paint the whole left side. Like I said, there's other paint, so.
Normal wear, normal, it's around the wheel well.
The 2015,
It was an old sheriff's vehicle. And now it's there, so. So you guys have grand plans for that thing? I'm not concerned about it, but. If you have grand plans for it, then I'd love to hear it.
as long as you don't ask for a new vehicle, you probably ain't getting one, so.
What do I need a new?
You're
vehicle
on,
for?
no, there'll be no new vehicle.
Remember-
Get a hand, you get a hand me down.
Yeah. What's the opinion of the board? Fix it or not?
Well, the values of vehicles are sure high right now. I mean, it's,
They
I know
are.
it's got 130,000, but that's not really a lot to,
No,
for deductibles only $500. I don't know.
I think
It's nice
for
to keep our
500, we
vehicles
should,
nice too,
we
or-
should fix
Or
it.
at least looking decent.
You should, we shouldn't have, maybe you have to go that far. I mean,
I think we should fix it. That's my opinion.
I think so too, really, because it
We keep
is-
vehicles for a long time.
Do anything for resale value, in the future, so.
Insurance company,
That's why you have insurance.
insurance company may need a actual. Is that a board wing, so it's on record?
Yeah.
There's over there and you get a case.
Does everybody agree we should fix it then?
Yeah. I think so.
Yep,
Fix it, yep.
Okay.
We'll do the whole left side or whatever.
Okay.
For passenger side, and
So you're the only one who uses that, Ben?
Yes.
The road
Yeah,
guys
it's-
don't.
No, I mean, it's a
Every now and
county
then.
pickup, so anybody really could, but it's got the lights and the red and blues and all that stuff. It's at the lake right now.
Why is it at the lake?
Wayne uses it for
Oh.
stuff because he has extra people come out. So it's got the red and blues, it's still got the cage in it, it's like an
Oh, okay.
extra
Yep.
sheriff's vehicle. Yeah. So there's the, requirements for who can drive with red and blue lights and all that stuff, so.
Yep. It's a backup for Wayne and when he has, or the deputy or
They
whatever.
actually use it quite a bit.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Anything else?
I guess what it's for.
I got nothing unless you got something for me. I gave those, my timesheets to Russell, it's for my grant. If you just want to sign those, that'd be fantastic. I won't be here next week.
Where are you going now?
Vacation.
Going on vacation.
When does it start and when does it finish?
Starts on.
I thought you
Yeah,
were already
starts
on
I
vacation.
wasn't on vacation. I was a little bit. It starts on Saturday and it ends the following Saturday, but I gotta come back because my kid has some baseball tournaments that week,
So
so
tomorrow,
yeah, tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay, that's all. We'll move on to public health. Emily?
Good morning.
Morning.
So I don't really have a whole lot for you guys. We ran the act and health activity coordinator for 3 weeks. I have one applicant who's gonna interview at 2:00 this afternoon. You guys have any questions?
Well, we'd like to welcome you to the Steele County Courthouse as our new county nurse and stuff. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's still gonna run one more week.
Done this week.
It's done this week, but we just decided. Yeah. So, interviewing.
Charlie, you can sit in on that?
Ryan is supposed to-
Oh, okay. Okay. Sounds good. Everything else going good down there?
So far, so good.
Good. How's the baby?
Good.
Growing?
Yes, he is. He's getting way too fast.
They do, don't they?
They do.
It's been many years, but yeah, they do.
He's already rolling, so. We're in trouble very soon.
So when would that close then, Charlie? On Friday then?
Until we hire.
Oh,
How many have you interviewed? Any? Have you interviewed any? Or just today?
I only got one
And that's-
resume. and that's
Did you
it.
just, I have one question. Did you just get this recently?
About a week and a half ago.
Okay.
Do you know of someone who's going to?
Well-
Is that why you're asking?
Can you tell me where this person is from? No, that isn't the one that.
I thought it's basically open to us. So we're open on the ad, so next week, we'll see all that and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the air. I can't say it. I'll come down and talk to you.
You're good.
so, okay, nothing else for Emily then? So,
Thanks, Emily. Yep, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We do a quick 5-minute recess or bathroom break.
Yeah, we can do that. Motion. Second. All in favor?
We get 5 minutes.
But then, it's all down on last. We're gonna be out of here.
Taking a break? How's it going?
Let's go on.
I haven't seen anything yet. There's rolls up there
All over those.
last week. Probably still good. The springtime? Yeah. This week.
Yeah.
You don't need city or address, just your phone number.
Also, we need to get a hold of Dennis's family, to get his key card back and his key.
Oh, okay,
I don't have a number ready to change for him.
okay.
It's upstairs.
I got,
If you have her number, I can call her.
I got it. His wife's number. You're talking, that wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Seven oh one, 789, 0,
You're faster than I am.
639. What do you got here?
Crap tickets.
Dollar?
50.
How many tickets are?
1,500.
Ben acts like it's mandatory to buy it.
It's for the kid.
Kids, that's for the children.
No. There you go.
That's for the children.
For the children.
Right, George, you left out. I saw that.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, thanks.
Or if not, I can call her too, Charlie.
I'll give her.
Okay. Can't get a hold of her or whatever, then I can run and see her.
Under.
Well, we'll reconvene the meeting here at
Budget
9:33
binder.
stuff. I think we'll take Charlie now with the VSO positions and matters and stuff like that.
For your budget binder.
So VSO position, ads ran for 2 weeks. We have 2 applicants. Get a hold of them. Let's try to set up interviews for next week.
Okay,
Who wants to be included on that?
yeah, I can be if. How many more you want, Charlie, or what? Just
I think 2 is fine.
2 is fine. Okay,
I'll talk to you more after. Okay, applicants are-
I got one from Neil Mail, from a person that said he had applied, so.
Food pantry, Jenny informed me that I think there used to be 3 board members, now there's 5. And she asked about keys, and my thought was, rather than having 5 keys out there, and then you collected, have you gotten this?
I have 2, or no, I only have mine right now, and then I believe Renee Brainer has one and Kelly has one.
Was Dennis have a key for it?
I have his.
Oh, you got it now.
Yes.
Okay.
And, but my thought was maybe what we should do is, rather than having all kinds of keys out there that would allow entry both to the courthouse and the food pantry, that we just put a lockbox deal like the realtors use, and have a key on there or in the box. And then the food pantry people would know the combo to it. So they just have a key there. And I guess in an emergency situation, if there's somebody not available and somebody needs to get in there, there'd be a way to get in there without having to pass keys around. You
And
guys
you can-
thoughts on that?
Change the lock anytime you want. But
Sorry?
you can change the combination anytime you want.
Right, instead of continuing to have keys made.
Yeah.
Trying to keep track of them and so on. And then also, Jenny, you can elaborate on this, but you mentioned something about getting feedback from the community about some people not wanting or not accessing the food pantry because of the courthouse location. I think that's something that's been discussed.
It's been that way forever.
So,
I've heard that forever, yeah.
I know we discussed possibly moving it to the church here over on the corner, just so then, you know, if something were to happen in the middle of the night, Beckman could go in and grab food, or one of us could go in and grab. Just kind of the location is a little bit more private, so maybe we wouldn't have that stigma around anymore. I don't know how serious the other board members are, it hasn't been discussed. It sounds like the last few years, but they just wanted me to bring it up, so on our meeting tomorrow, we can discuss it a little bit more in depth.
my thought is you guys should discuss it more and really kind of vet the information to see whether it's rumor and innuendo rather as opposed to factual, that there's people who are hesitant.
The question they had arising was, if we do move forward with moving to a different location, do we have any, like, what do we have to do with you guys as commissioners, since it's
We have nothing to do with it.
nothing?
No.
So would they just move out? I'm new to the food action board, so would they just move out of that, or is there any, okay? We weren't sure if there, you know, we all kind of joined in the last couple months, so we weren't sure if there was any paperwork or anything that was tied into that or not, but.
Well, you should talk to your board should discuss that and vet that issue more. And we can talk about it.
So I think the matter was it was Steele County, so that's why it was in the Steele County courthouse, was
Mhm.
because of that.
But it's
And
not.
as far as fact of the matter of the storage of all the stuff and everything else too. And then you got the deep freezes down there, you got them to move and everything else and stuff. So I would myself say no to moving it.
I personally like the location. I mean, I have access to the courthouse, so if there is an emergency call in the middle of the night, I can always come in and help. You know,
Right.
we like the hours Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, so we do have 2 of the board members in the courthouse. So we do like that. I know we just have a couple on the board that have kind of heard of that stigma, so we just kind of wanted to get that, so if it does move in that direction, there's not any confusion or hesitation, but we have a meeting tomorrow after the food pantry truck does come into town, where we'll probably go more in depth.
I find it hard to believe that would change if you're moving it
Yeah.
down the block.
I agree.
No.
So who else is on there, Jenny?
So Renee Rayner is our president, Darcy McCullough is our vice president, I'm the treasurer, Tasha is our secretary, and then Kelsey Christian is another board member. Then we've had people that have asked to be on as volunteer, so they'll help when needed. We are Great Plains contract apparently expired a couple months ago. We were not notified of that, so I'm working with Great Plains now. They're gonna come in and do an inspection and get that, so we can start getting more food moving in and moving out. And then we have a few more projects we wanna do throughout the year to get food out.
So you got 6 people on the board?
5 and then a couple volunteers. Renee, Darcy, myself, Tasha, and Kelsey. And then a couple volunteers on top of that.
Kelly's a volunteer that,
So she apparently has never been on the board as a member. She's just kind of been helping. She was helping Dennis with like a checkbook and stuff. But I'm taking over that position now. So I have the checkbook and bank account information and everything locked up.
you guys don't like men on the board or what?
Oh, we do. We kind of, the way we looked at it is Darcy's kind of in the Hope area, Tasha Laverne, myself and Sharon and Renee, and then Kelsey kind of right in the town. So if we do, we would like to, if people need deliveries or anything, have someone in all that areas. But
Yeah, no, that's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Can we ask about the lock for my door? We had discussed that.
So that's secondary door to her office is on the other side of so
Yeah, right by the elevator.
by the elevator, the lock doesn't work. And obviously, when we went through the training for active shooting and stuff, being able to lock doors and just in general, that should be locked because of the recording office and the court's office. I guess all it's got is an old key lock. No, it's a skeleton key thing.
Yeah.
That's all it has. I don't know what your guys' position is on upsetting the integrity of the antique door to get maybe put a bolt lock on or something.
Well, it's locked all the time anyway, isn't it?
It doesn't lock.
Doesn't lock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just wide open and anyone can come in and out.
That should be locked.
Which should be locked.
What
Yes.
we thought about is we could just kind of do like a latch hook on there, but then that's drilling into the wood. I mean, I have one of those. If you're okay with that, I can just bring it in and we can put it on, where it's locked from the inside. So if we do need to get through there at one point, we can, but
What have we done in the past, Emily?
I wasn't aware it didn't. So why it wouldn't have been done when we did all the doors, I'm not sure.
so I did talk to a few months ago that there was the old skeleton key was in my, like, we have a little sink area in there, it was in there. And then what I thought that door was always locked, I came in and the key was in the door and I could not get it to lock again. So we took the key out thinking it was locked, and then now Dina noticed it was open again.
No, it should be locked.
And now the key is like bent and you cannot lock it.
And we gotta be,
There's old skeleton keys, but yes.
Yeah, you cannot, Aurora and I worked on it a few times trying to get it locked. So at least you can't get in, but.
well, we'll have to get somebody to come and fix it.
I think we should put a bolt lock on it.
So
That thing should be secure. That room should be secure.
Yes, but the issue back then was we're damaging.
I know.
I agree.
You have to have it professionally done.
Right. You're right. That's,
So it will be around 900 to do that, $900. Ben was going to be installing badge systems for the doors of certain offices, and I believe yours is one of them. I don't know where we're at with that process or when that would be. Is it effective to do it?
I'll ask Ben about that.
but it should get done
It needs to.
as quick as possible. Yeah,
It's our responsibility to
it is.
secure that stuff.
Yes, it is.
So
I'll
locksmith
talk with
comes
Ben
in
about
for
that.
$900 or?
Correct. The ones that did the original locks.
I'll follow up on all that.
So then, I guess we could bring up, since if they come out prior to badging system locking, do you guys want these doors done too? Or no?
This one is,
That one is correct.
And so is yours, and so is this one. So if they were locked, then they're gonna, only way they can access is come in through you.
Right.
So that's up to you guys. You know which ones you should do. I would think we're safe with these three that are locked, and your office and the sheriff's office, that we should be fine.
Right. Those are just the only skeleton ones I can think of that are left.
Oh.
So,
They should be redone.
Well, that, their skeletons still,
yes.
I think I'll talk with everybody about that. We have a dialogue. see what we wanna do.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Jenny.
What else do I have to say?
HR,
HR, I met with Emily and her staff last week or 2 weeks ago and had what I thought was a real productive meeting with them on input on the outline that we've been working on. And we kind of agreed that I'm gonna continue to, that's the same one.
It's a clean copy, because when I sent out the stuff,
Right.
you told me to send it out and I didn't have the original, so.
So Emily and her staff, we went through those line item by line item, and there's some that are duplicative, we know that. And then there was some elaboration on some of them. And then basically we agreed that to continue the process of what's going on is that I'm gonna continue to meet with them as often as possible on, various aspects of the HR, which would include, for example, the drug testing policy and how that's handled, the WSI training and keeping track of that, how that's handled, learn a bit more about how the payroll system is handled. All those sorts of things that fall under the auspices of the HR position. And I guess I think I told them that it's a work in process and that I think I'm gonna continue to need their assistance on HR matters until there's a full transition, probably through the end of the year. But it's a work in progress and we continue to meet. I've got input from Emily's office, from Jenny's office, from Ben's office, from Wayne to an extent. So got a lot of input on it, and it's just continuing the process. And there are some HR matters that come up from time to time that I've made decisions on that there are things that need to be discussed in the commission meeting and basic stuff. And moving forward, probably at a slower pace than maybe some want, but it takes time. There's a lot to it that meets the eye, and I need to learn more for sure. And then at the end of the year, you guys are gonna have to decide where we're gonna go with this, and whether I'm gonna continue to do it or someone else continues to do it, what have you. But I continue to work on it. I continue to get input, and I'll emphasize Emily in her office were very cooperative and good to work with, and sitting down and talking about it. She's got to keep working on it.
There's a lot, it's a lot more in depth than.
It's a lot more than meets the eye, no question about it.
Definitely, yeah.
So what is the next step? I mean, what are we working towards? Like to have a goal in the next month and then continue that each month?
Well, my thought is, like we talked about, is I want to continue to be able to arrange to meet with you guys when I'm here on various topics relative to HR. And I think there have been things that have transitioned, like basic HR decisions and leave issues and so on that I've made decisions on. And it's just going to be, like I said, my own feeling is that completely taking over HR, having HR be completely taken over by someone else is going to take through the end of the year. That in part is based on the commission meeting once a month, not blaming you, that's just takes time to process all that stuff. If it goes quicker, it goes quicker. I mean, I have to learn about more about the drug policy, which we didn't talk about, drug and alcohol testing. We talked about that. That has to get transitioned over. WSI stuff, training department heads on
Yeah.
preparing all the new employee paperwork. So
So
hopefully we can just continue.
should we
working on it.
schedule a date to get some training done with department heads, or are we gonna shoot for revising this for,
That'll get revised and I'll get it to you guys
okay,
here in the next week or so. And then I'm hoping that next week we can have another meeting like we did last week or the week before on other topics. And then we should plan on discussing department head meeting for training on the new hire. Because the way I see it is that if there's a department that's hiring, that department head should take and have the responsibility of meeting with their new employee and filling out the appropriate and necessary paperwork for payroll and benefits and things like that. And then check and balances would be at the auditor's office and our HR. Because I don't know if the department heads know exactly what the auditor needs in order to process payroll and benefits, but there's certain information you have to have, you know, social security numbers, and dates of birth. And so, but ideally, and I think realistically, we should say that department heads have to start owning that responsibility. Because I think over the years, it's just fell on the auditor's office or fell on who's ever handling HR, and people just, you know, people follow the path of least resistance, and that's the least resistance. So what Emily and I talked about was training department heads and then letting them know that that's their responsibility, and there'll be assistance available, but that's got to be their job. And there have been a few policy issues or HR issues that have come up, minor ones, and I have, when they come to my attention, I've just deferred them to the department head saying, take care of this and let me know what you did. And that's happened. So that's kind of, I think, going forward, we need to start putting more and more, I won't say more responsibility, but more expectations on department heads to take care of their own stuff. So that's what I've been trying to do. And when there's just a single department head, then I just make some decisions. And if any of you guys want information about what the minor things have been, certainly go to talk to you, but there's nothing needs to be talked about here. So that's where that's at. Oh, so I talked with Megan, and her office door is open a lot, obviously, she's there, you know, she's her assistant, and she said she's getting a lot of walk-in people that they come into the courthouse and they see her light on her office on, and they come in and say, where's the clerk's office? She said she has people come in on days, they say they're here for court. We didn't have court that day. Where's the clerk of court's office? Where's the auditor's office? Where's Ben's office? And so I reached out to Mike about whether his firm could prepare a courthouse diagram that we could have front and central. When someone walks into the courthouse, it's right there.
They got to come in that door though, too.
Yes, exactly.
So I mean, that would be the spot right there.
And then we could have, right now, when you walk in, I don't know if you guys use the front door, you walk in, there's a little bulletin board sitting on the heater thing, and it has a little 8x11.5 sheet that says auditor's office. I mean, nobody even sees it. They just go right by it.
They don't.
And then they look for it, and that's what they're gonna do. But if we have the ability to put like a pedestal, movable one with a diagram of the courthouse, you are here, office, telephone number, second floor, office, telephone number. I think that's going to direct people.
And then there should be an arrow that points toward the elevator.
I talked to Ben about that. I agree. So
Just
people-
that, because there's a certain amount of people aren't going to walk up the steps.
Yep, and that's exactly what Ben and I talked about too. Ben also said that this would be beneficial from a emergency management standpoint too, in the event there's ever a major issue in the courthouse where someone has to come in here, law enforcement, whatever, they aren't necessarily familiar with it, they have a reference to it. And I just think that's gonna eliminate the foot traffic for Megan's office and then for Emily's office when she's there, and just get people flowing in the right direction without, so there is a reference. But for now, I know we have a 3-foot pedestal thing, and I want to just put I want to blow up bigger poster size of all the offices and say, here's the telephone number. So then they walk in and they have to walk right into it, and then they can, rather than going into offices and asking people, or otherwise just wandering around the courthouse, they can literally just call the auditor's office and say, where are you at? That kind of thing. So my first step will be to do that. Gotta find that three-legged pedestal. I know we have one here. And then Mike got back to me and said we'd probably be better off contacting Bobby Hepper Olson, because she might already have significant diagrams of the courthouse.
I believe they're probably in our bathroom redesign project stuff.
Say that again?
They're probably with our bathroom redesign project information. I believe they're in there. She took all of our floor plans, so.
So that should, I think, decrease the expense and time it would take to actually get a diagram done. And so I'm gonna keep working on that with your guys' approval.
I think that's a good idea.
Just because I'm telling you, no one, I didn't even notice that bulletin board there until Megan sent me an email saying, hey, Charlie, this is what's going on. So I'm like, isn't there something down there? And I go in there and there's a bulletin board, and then it has other, like it has flyers for, a food truck and stuff that isn't even related to the county, which I just remove and just have specific county stuff on it. And so I'll keep working on that as well. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Yep.
And then one question about that's not on the agenda is that I'd really like to move my office to where Don's used to be. It's a bad place for my office, especially on court dates, because there's just people up there gathering, and then the judge's spot is literally right next to my office, and they like to have the door closed and people walking into my office, and the judge has to go to my office sometimes, go to the bathroom and so on. And it's just, it'd be better to, and then we have, when I was in that office that Ben has, we opened up that front conference area and put that and redid that nice antique table as kind of a meeting area. It'd just be nice to have that kind of accessibility to that, and more removed from the
I'd say that should be your decision.
so that's want to make sure that you guys didn't have other plans for that.
That's
office.
just me, but
It would just work better for me, and
It's currently being used as the tobacco coordinator's office. She got kicked up there when Catherine added Emily. So
You're talking in the northwest corner upstairs, right,
Yeah.
Charlie? Yeah. I think Aurora would go any place, wouldn't she?
does she need a, I'm suggesting she doesn't, but does she need a separate office for that, or could she have that paperwork and whatnot in the auditor's office? Just work there.
in the auditor's office,
No, court's office, recorder's.
I would say that's a question for her.
I'll just follow up with her on it. No, that'd be, yep, do that. Right, I think that's. I'm missing something, but-
The policy change you requested.
Oh, there's a policy change I put in there that I talked to Brandon and Richard about it over the past several months. And so I drafted something up quick, and there I am still working on the policy manual updates, and as Emily has mentioned, we're gonna have to go through the entire policy and change things because of the change we're doing for HR. That's gonna take time too. I mean, it just all takes time, so. So I did draft that one change up. In the event you guys want to look at that, or we can just wait all at once. Doesn't matter.
Do we have an update on the policy for reporting things and that
I'm-
whole situation
I'm
from
working
last
on- I'm working on
year?
that. I've been working on that. Like the HR issues. It's more complicated than meets the eye. But
Yeah.
what I've looked
But
at
it's
is
also,
insurance policies, for example, there's reporting requirements for here's what you have to do in order to notify your agent, for example, and then I've looked at, so I've got some of those samples, and then I've looked at research online for other businesses and so on. What Emily's talking about is the policy, which we talked about, that we want to get in there, but if we have an incident, how is that instant reporting gonna happen based upon what we had through last year? As far as an incident with regarding a county employee and there being potential exposure to the county and so on. So I'm in the process. I do have a draft.
I'm glad to see some progress here. I think you guys are on the right track. It's not gonna be easy or nothing to do this, but I think it looks well.
Okay, that's all I have. Appreciate your time. And like I said, if anybody wants to talk to me about anything, I'll be available again until 10:30.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
We got mileage reimbursement?
yes. On July 1st, the state sent out, they have increased their mileage reimbursement policy. It was at 58.5 cents per mile, and they have increased it to 62.5 cents per mile. Generally, the county follows that policy, so I put it on there or added it as an addition for you guys to discuss and consider.
I'll make a motion. We change the
Second.
We got a motion and a second on changing the current mileage to what the state does. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Maybe we should have, or how long is this courthouse office reference thing? Will take.
That's done already.
That's
That
done.
was
what
Charlie.
Charlie did.
Oh, that's,
Those were all Charlie.
Yeah, that was Charlie, yeah.
oh, okay.
You want Megan?
Yeah, might as well get Megan up here then.
I'll send her a message quick. But just the update on the Finley days.
You guys did a great job on that.
Yeah.
We had a really good turnout. We've served 200 people.
The turnout was awesome.
So we did put a thank you to the donors, people who donated for that to happen. Jake was great and worked with us to take back any left extra items that were ordered for it and give us credit for that could still be used out there at the restaurant. So that was very good.
Lot of good comments about that.
The follow-up, I want to put one more thing out there regarding the election. I will take full responsibility for the error that happened. It is my job. I am the department head. Mistakes do happen. We have made that mistake correct. The city was okay with that correction as well. He has not heard any feedback or issues with it. The schools and I have both made plans that we are gonna discuss prior to their next election, how they would like it handled, if they would like us to handle it as well, and go from there. So
Well, I have a question. You have a list of people that you send to them? I mean, do they have to notify you that to be on a list to,
They have to turn in an absentee request form, yes, and they would check school or not school or city.
were they on the list or were these some new people that hadn't voted before?
These are people that came up here to vote in person. And at that point, they don't do a form.
Okay,
They just show up.
okay,
They did not have anyone say anything to them. The only messages, Amy was back and forth, up and down. She does use the restroom as well. The only message she had on the phone system was from Charlie, being in contact with Charlie and the state and the city. It was the impression that it was handled.
yeah. Okay, I was just wondering.
With that being said,
Hopefully it won't happen again.
correct.
Great.
Hi, Megan.
Good morning. You're
Hi,
up.
Jess.
Good morning. Are you up for all day or?
All right, so in your guys' pamphlets, I have another quarterly report. The last 3 months have flown by. So when I sat down to read it or write it, I was like, it's gonna be this time again. So you can check that out. Jess and I are getting ready for achievement days. There's this book that goes out with the State Fair book, and just trying to get that up to date from last year. And the version I found on Ola storage. So there's Google Drive, there's Teams, and then there was the old secretary's computer. All I could find was a PDF version. So I asked somebody who has access to the Adobe software to if they could convert it back to Word for me. And it took a lot longer than I was hoping to get that information out, but it's to the 4-H families, and hopefully they start registering for achievement days here shortly. I just checked into fair entry and I don't see anything, and I'm just hoping they're dragging their feet and not that the system's broken.
Do you have a lot of kids in 4-H?
I think there's about 50 consistent ones showing up, and then registered if there's 70 or 80.
Really?
So I think there's good dedication. The numbers are down from what I understand in previous years. And it seems like that's attributed to COVID.
It's a good program.
Yes. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was weed board. And like a history lesson.
Well, Richard, maybe, and it's on the $100. Why do we pay the people who live on Golden Lake $100 for weed control?
They've been doing it for so long. It was
Yeah.
before I was on the board.
Well, and her question to me was that, and last year, Brandon had to go approach somebody to get the money for these farmers who use weed control.
Townships.
Yeah, well,
But
but it, you know,
I think originally when it was done was to try helping the weed problem. Right?
yeah. Is it working? You live there.
Maybe around their dogs.
Do
I
they,
don't know.
do they spend the money instead of using weed control or
Well, I think they have to bring a receipt.
It's
they
a
have to bring a
reimbursement.
receipt in?
Yeah.
So they gotta buy that to get the reimbursement, so.
And I don't know, like, I was looking quickly at just to compile the vouchers, and I don't know how much they need, but there are some like property owners that do put more pellets down than others. And I question, are they just putting enough down to get the reimbursement? Or are they putting the right rate down to control the weeds? But then on top of it, these weeds are not noxious weeds. So they don't align with weed.
So is it to put pellets in the lake?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Seaweed.
Water.
What else did they tell me that worked just the same and it was something else you can dump in your water?
sulfate,
What was it?
copper sulfate, maybe?
I don't know. It was something that was very simple to get. And it did the same thing as what these pellets are doing. Now, if that's true or not, I don't know.
There a association for Golden Lake?
There is.
Is this something that they should do rather than weed board? Because, so far, $2,600 have been done for vouchers for reimbursement. We ordered 50 containers of leafy spurge flea beetles, so that times $175, I think, is per the container, but that's going to control a noxious weed, leafy spurge.
Yeah.
And then, I should have Jess or we should communicate to the townships, like, please spray. Remember, you have voucher, you can be reimbursed up to $2,000, but we're gonna run out of funds.
Yeah.
Yep. We did last year.
Yeah, we
And
did, yeah.
I've reached out to Richard at the North Dakota Department of Ag, and that $5,000 that you were able to get access to cover those townships that submitted reimbursements, that's been spent for this biennium. We don't have another $5,000.
So what I think we need to do is probably lower that cost reimbursement.
For the townships.
Yes.
Or if we just say, like, they will be received to the states and all the townships that.
See, the biggest problem was there was nobody spraying for a long time.
That's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have $50,000 in there and nobody.
Yeah,
give
nobody
out 2 or
did.
3
And now they
$100 every year.
Somebody spraying again, so.
Yeah.
Well, then we took some money out of that.
We actually cut money out of it and
$5,000
it blew
or
up. So.
And that's when I was visiting with Richard. So that was the TAG grant, the Targeted Assistance Grant. When I was over in Griggs County, I would fill out paperwork for LAP, the Landowner Assistance Program. And in order to qualify for LAP, because at the moment, Steele County does not qualify, you need to levy 3 mills. But I said, Griggs County never really levied 3 mills. We said, or budget for 3 mills. So if that's another avenue of getting state dollars, is if we started budgeting for 3 mills for weed board to make us, to give us access to those state dollars. Now that pool of funds, they calculate who can get a portion of it based off how many non-crop land acres there are. And so, I mean, Steele County is a smaller county compared to other counties. And then dividing it, so if there's more counties accessing the funds, then the dollar amount goes down, but it's still funds that we never had access to before, so that's one way we approach that weed board budget. I've already, on behalf of Jessica, I did the weed board budget for this year, but it's not 3 mills. So if that's something we can,
That has to go to the voted people,
okay, or no,
doesn't it?
No,
No?
they can, you can levy up to 4 mills for weed board.
We can?
Previously haven't, because we've had a reserve that's,
But now that we don't, yeah.
it's still all right in that area. We just have never budgeted or levied that much. And speaking with me and Megan talked about this a little bit. And Megan, am I correct that we don't need to necessarily levy 3 mills?
What do we do now?
Just the budget.
How many mills do we do now?
Ooh,
it was between 2.
last year was 1.13 was the levy. The budget is more than that, but if we're just needing to increase the budget to meet that 3 mil threshold, it doesn't mean we have to levy those 3 mills. You can levy your 1.13 or whatever the calculation comes to once we go over the budgets and with the reserve and look at it together. Does that make sense? I think that's where you were kind of going with it, Megan, is don't necessarily need the entire 3 mills levied.
Just a budget for it.
with the understanding that maybe all of that budget might not get spent. Maybe.
Yep.
So that $2,600, maybe you said that was from the people from the lake. So there was 26 people that had applied then for that.
But I guess coming as just a citizen, why are my tax dollars improving their recreation? When it doesn't go towards noxious weed control
True.
versus like, spraying for leafy spurge, that has popped up really bad this year because of last year's drought. Those root systems go deep into the soil, so
Yeah.
the grass species didn't overcrowd them, and this year they're flourishing. But that's okay, like, because it expands, it gets into cropland, it gets into pastures. It ruins people's livelihoods, but it's when I get these requests for vouchers, because they're coming to me and I did update, I think it's Paul Kataska. Like, we have a new weed board secretary. I get these emails, they're not even addressed, they're just, here's my receipt, send money here. Or I have 2 lake lots, can I get $200?
Yeah.
I think we need to. When we're looking at that, why that's established, maybe a beautification lakeside. That's.
It's been that way forever. Yeah.
And I
The one
tried
thing
to-
about it too, we need to remember, it's a huge tax base for the county as well. Okay.
But that's when I wanted to know, like, can I find out how much? I'm just curious, what does a lake property owner pay for taxes? Or is it something that the association reaches out, buys massive amounts, gets a discount, distributes it to the individual owner, lake property owners, rather than everybody just paying full price?
They're always fundraising for money too.
Yeah, that'd be good to talk with them about it
So when do they meet, the association?
3-4 times a year.
Suppose that's a budget item we can look at here coming up and stuff in July and everything too. But I agree, leafy spurge is big out there.
And it's on the noxious weed control list.
Yes,
See,
it is, yeah.
Versus cattails.
The problem is the lake is county owned. That's the issue.
Okay,
I think that's probably why.
and I was going
Well,
through the
kind of
notes.
county. I mean,
Yeah.
we lease it, part of it.
Yeah.
It's been, like an incentive to keep it,
I think that's why it was started
incentive
originally.
to keep it.
Because the weeds are, they're terrible out
You
there.
let it go, it's gonna.
Does it help out there? I don't know if it does. I mean, it's gotta help some, but the weeds are bad out there.
But in comparison to years ago when they had that weed machine out there and they used that.
Yeah.
And they did around everybody's things, how does it compare to today?
Right.
And
You
now
know,
they
like
sold that,
That
so,
weed machine, that would just trim them.
Yeah.
The chemical is supposed to kill it.
yeah. Good questions for us.
It is. It's a good question. To find the answer though, that'll be the
We
issue.
do get all the townships come in and they do all their spraying, we'll have to readjust that to.
Yeah, we will, really.
disperse the funds out.
It's gonna happen.
We cut the
Yeah.
budget last year, so we
Yeah.
will have to do that.
And there's a lot of them that don't come in.
Yep.
I mean,
So as they get going through that, I guess we can.
Another incentive for us to pay the townships for the spraying was that they would do the county roads. We found
Wow,
one of the
finally
county
got-
roads in the township. And
Finally got somebody certified to do
Right.
it too.
Josh is still doing that?
So if I send out, I found a letter Angie had sent out, if it was 2018 to the townships. If I do that now, there was a guy from Hillsborough that was listed as an applicator. I know Josh has done Sharon Township. I reach out to those, and then right away, Cooperstown.
I don't think they're doing that anymore.
Okay. But just to notify the townships, this money is available, however,
It's always been a first come, first serve.
Yeah. That's always the way it's been.
and based off that township association meeting in March, there was some discussed with townships about that. Would it be smarter just to say like vouchers will be received by this date and then whatever money remains, divvy it out? Versus first come, first serve?
I don't know.
I don't know if that'd be good or not. I mean, you only got one person spraying. Who gets, you know, who gets sprayed first and who gets the bill in?
Or maybe just in the letter, do I acknowledge Josh as a sprayer, as an applicator?
Yeah, I would. I mean, we want them to spray. It's,
Are there anybody else or?
I'd say it's, I mean, it's basically the same thing, you get cut off, you know, it's got, yeah, I know. Your square clear to, this is the date. Yeah,
well, but I mean, you go a cutoff date and everybody turns their bills in the last month and we're already broke. What do you do then?
you wouldn't pay him till then. But so then whatever money's left, that's what you get. Everybody gets it's $1,000, they'll get $1,000. It's cover the up to $2,000 for all of them that sent it, we can cover the $2,000. I mean that, otherwise then we just go back to the first come first served.
Can we change that in the middle of the year?
Well, we're gonna have to. But I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Or do we effective New
we
Year?
just stop doing it altogether too, I guess.
No townships have been reimbursed yet, correct? Right, so. I mean, you have a set about budget amount for this year, so
It's just out of that line item, that's where the Golden Lake reimbursements come from. the
Yeah.
flea beetles come from.
But the other issue is if one guy's doing it, if one guy's doing the applicating, it's like you said, Richard, if he goes, runs around, and does, he comes to my township first,
Yeah,
then I send the bill in.
yeah,
Oh, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And then you're the last township on the list, well,
Mhm.
right.
money's already gone by the time we get our voucher, and well, that's not gonna be, because weather can play an app, weather can play a, weather, wind, and everything can play into that team. I'm just trying to,
I think this year we almost have to stay first come, first serve, and then next year change it at the beginning of the year before.
Before it gets started, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I mean,
Well, if leafy spurge is that bad, why can't we allocate our funds to a noxious weed? And hold off on Golden Lake for a year
we've already paid 26 people already.
or next year then.
And how many are out there?
Oh, there's 150 cabins out there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's $100 if they can't afford to put $100 worth of chemical down themselves.
Yeah.
To me, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it's recreation, like you say, but I like, I know the reason why it was out there is to try to help kill the weeds out there. It's an incentive.
Because it's a draw to the county, it makes money.
have we
And like
reached
we
out?
said back then, there was $50,000 in there and we give out 3 a year.
Yeah.
And now everybody, the social media, everybody knows about everything. I mean, they,
As soon as we cut,
if they get $100 back,
as
get
soon as we
$100
cut the
back.
budget,
Yeah.
everybody wanted it. So.
If we cut the $100 from everybody out there, they probably still are gonna do it.
well, like I said, you got a local applicator doing it now, so then it's more accessible, I guess, so. You guys have done the townships and things like that, so.
Costs us $15 a year.
Something comes and does it?
Our water clarity is 14 feet. So I mean, we got a good lake. But still, there's probably more than 150 people there too.
So what other counties? Out to Megan, are they doing the same thing as we are, or?
I haven't reached out, but I talked to Richard about it. Richard with the North Dakota Department of Ag, and he was like, "Oh, that's kind of an interesting approach."
So I think we can have some more discussion on that, the lake lots, like we said, coming into next year. Secondly, we just need to kind of figure out, are we gonna do the first come, first serve thing, or are we gonna? cut off
Or do you
date
go back and hire Josh to just do our county roads and
Let the townships be on their own.
that's all,
That's
something we need to think about.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, what if there's just a massive amount of pellets or whatever works the best purchased? Somebody goes out in a boat, could they just do the perimeter of the lake?
What they, I've been racking my brain, but somebody said it one time, was it salt that you could throw in? And it was supposed to do the same thing. There was something simple. And I don't remember who told us that. Something dumb, but it worked. And it was cheap.
It's good for the environment, though.
Well, what would, salt wouldn't be bad, would it?
Gonna kill all the
To
fish.
throw in your water? What would that hurt? Would it kill a,
You just don't want your salt to get too high.
is what we need to do is just, like you said, Megan, probably go have a discussion with them. Like, yeah, I know you're talking like a bulk buy and some of that stuff. And maybe that's something we need
They'd
to,
probably be very interested in doing.
maybe that's something we need to relinquish off onto the association to put that together. Bring up a great point to me.
And maybe even the weed board could buy it and just say, here's
Here's
so many pounds of pellets for your lot, $100 or whatever. You know?
Yep.
See if we can get a discount.
so they would have,
Yep.
they would have to do it then.
They'd come, they'd get the pellets.
Yeah.
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 You got X number of feet, you get X number of pellets.
Do you trust people to apply it though? In timely fashion, or like,
No.
just use a boat?
Yeah.
Spend the afternoon just applying.
Well, they know it's coming come spring, they
I
start
think
to do
most
it
people
early.
out there, they want to take care of theirs.
Yeah, they want their shorelines nice.
It's, I don't know what, I think it costs more than $100 to buy a channel. I think when I bought a last, it was more than $100. A lot of good questions, a lot of
Yeah.
different ways we can go.
So we wanna, because you're looking at putting a letter out. So what do we want in that letter? First come, first serve deal still, is that?
I think we almost have to. That's pretty much what's happened so far, even the people that have applied for the $100.
Yeah, I'm talking the township reimbursement.
Well, that's what they were always told before.
There is a deadline necessarily on these golden lake reimbursements, because they continue to come in,
They come in all year long
but it seems.
because they're $2,000 a piece, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, and then
That knocks it.
landowners are 500,
Yep.
but I haven't received any
It's
landowners.
usually one or two, I think, a year.
You can get a 10-pound bag for $108.
Yeah, I'm just curious, do they just get the 10-pound bag because they're only out $8, or do they get the 10-pound bag because that's what they need? Because maybe some people have more feet of shoreline and they should be applying more. but now you're just diluting the rate,
Mhm.
so.
Then, but
it's
maybe
doing
they're,
any good.
maybe they're not even buying.
Well, they have to have a receipt.
Oh,
Well, probably just imagine what's happening. So.
It's probably going a lot of
10 pound
different
bag
ways.
and it's just going in the lake.
I mean, if I'm gonna do it, I wanna hammer it out, get it,
well, yeah,
get her thick.
Maybe you should put a boat on your budget.
Yeah, there you go. You go to Gold Lake on Fridays.
Well, it depends upon the person, you know, they spend extra and then the next one won't, you know?
yeah,
So.
that's right.
Yeah,
Well, it depends on too. I mean, usually you gotta do it a couple times a year.
yeah. Now this person bought 2 10-pound bags, so it's, you know, $216, so pretty much the same price per 10 pounds, you know, so.
And I'm not volunteering to look like, put the pellets down, maybe the association could do it, because those people should have boats, right?
Doesn't Wayne have a boat or did he sell that?
Yeah, he does.
He's on the association.
Yeah, you can get Wayne to do it. He's got a boat. He's standing out there.
Well, 10-pound bag says it treats 4,000 square feet.
I haven't, what was that? I haven't looked at the aqua side, or I see that other people do hydrothermal. How many square feet?
4,000.
4,000.
4,000. That's a 10-pound bag, it says.
Then I also don't know how much shoreline these people own.
Yeah,
What size their
Anywhere
lot
from
is.
50 to 100 foot lots.
How wide the lots?
50 feet to 100.
Oh, they are 50 to
Usually
100.
they're 50. That's another 40. That's 20. I'm sure they're putting it in. Let's just keep it the way it is now. Adjust it at budget time for next year and kind of prioritize. What we should do is go back to last 3, 4 years, 5 years and just see how much we spent in all the lake paid out to the lake people and
Got any jet boats on your lake? Just send them around. To disrupt all your weeds.
Megan, if you remind me, we can get you account histories for 5 years.
Okay, my only worry is that it's not broken down because it's all in the same line item. Do you guys?
Right,
break
but
down?
it would break down for that line item,
Okay,
like who was reimbursed. So that should be able to decipher for us.
I know they advertise the heck out of it at the lake that the county pays $100. I mean. It's pretty simple. All they do is send a receipt, right?
thanks. And then their address, and where they want the money sent, or the reimbursement. And then their phone and link address.
I agree with Brian. Let's talk about it in budget time and let's move on stuff. So, anything else you got, Megan?
Nope, any questions for me?
I have nothing, so.
Thanks,
you.
Megan.
Have a good day.
Good
Yep.
luck.
Wayne
Mr. Beckman.
Beckman, you're up.
All right, 3 quick things. The first one is going to be 2 parts. So we have a 4-wheeler that was stolen quite a while ago. We've had almost a year. We recovered that here. The owner will not come and pick it up. He's been contacted a ton of times. His son was contacted, a friend was contacted. He's not coming to get it.
What is it?
It's a 4-wheeler. It was recovered. It was stolen from Minnesota.
Is it wrecked?
I think so, and it's in really good shape. So I have that is my first
thing. I don't know what you want me to do with that. I think that we could have Tim look at it to see if it's runnable, if it's running. There's no key to it, so he's gonna have to switch missions. And if it's in good shape, I say we just keep it, leave it for the county shop guys to use. They don't have to use ours all the time. It's got a big waist on it, a big
Wrench.
yeah.
Can
So
we do that?
I think we can.
Well,
It's
if they,
abandoned now.
Either that or just
But
sell
Yeah.
it.
Go through the guy.
County
behind me.
auction.
yeah. But I mean, if they've been called and
They've been told many times.
they got their insurance on it.
I don't think so, because he
Really?
also had a tractor, so he just walked away from all his material.
Oh,
Yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, and they're sitting with that too somewhere else, so. Come from Minnesota.
but it ended up here?
Yeah, that's the one part we don't understand.
So could you set fees for having it here that so long, or just,
We can do that as well.
I mean, shouldn't we? And then that way it's protected if they ever come back and say, hey, that's
Yeah,
our.
and this is,
forward.
nothing has to be decided today. That's
Some
one,
kind of storage fee or something.
we can set a storage fee. Also from there. Yeah.
I'll work with you.
What's that?
I'll work with you.
Yeah.
One time.
So that's,
One time.
so that's one thing I want to talk about. The next thing is, we also have the building, we took a small shed, I think most of you know about that. That was on tax property that we took back. I don't know if the house is down, I don't think the house is down yet, but it's coming down in the city of Findlay. We have that building sitting behind. It's on our property now, so. That's another thing we need to get rid of.
The shed? Why did we take the shed?
How big?
Because we take stuff, it's just to try to pay the taxes off if we can.
So we should put that at county auction.
So we have that, I know, but I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm not gonna have a county auction for 2 items. It's, no one's gonna show up for that.
Just
We
put
barely had anybody here at the last one.
Can we do a sealed bid?
We could do a seal bid for any of these
Let's
two
just do
things.
that.
How big a building is it?
8x6.
Yeah. 10 by, I think it's bigger than that.
Just a little steel
by 10
building or a
maybe.
little wood one?
It's a kit lumber, I think the lumber came from Finley lumber
Oh.
a few years ago, so
Let's just do an advertising in the paper for sealed bids.
I mean, I'm sure you can do that.
I don't want to know.
8x6.
Was it hard plastic?
No, it's wood, it's a wood
Oh, it is,
structure,
huh?
yeah,
8x6 or 10x8.
right behind the weed board, if you guys wanna take a look at it. It is a different door, different window, but it's solid, it seemed very solid. We grabbed it when we could. I don't know how much it's worth, you know, wood
Where was
worth
it
now,
taken?
right?
Where was it taken?
Came from that young property.
Well, my wife priced an 8x10 the other day, just looking at them,
I think it's bigger than 8x10.
and it's $3,500.
No, I know, especially with lumber the way it is. I mean, this shed is complete. Needs a little bit of work.
These are
Different
these
door, different
pre-built
window,
ones.
You got a nice shed, so. So they're expensive right now, so.
They
Put it
are.
out on sealed bids.
Yeah. What else you got?
We'll work with that. The third thing we're gonna talk about is that I received an email on Friday morning from Stefan. And Finley Ambulance has stopped their ambulance service in Finley. They pulled their ambulance out. They say it's on staffing. Disagree with that, but I'm not the one that deals with it. So I just think you guys need to be aware of that. I think you need to have Stefan at your next meeting.
Yeah. He gets $100,000 a year from us.
I know, and they are gonna keep a pickup here, the first responder pickup, so there's still gonna be first responders going out, but not an ambulance located here.
There's a contract.
I
Right.
believe there was a contract.
There is a
but you have to
contract.
dig for that, Terry, yes, that we talked about. it.
You'll have that.
But I think that's, we can't really discuss that without Stefan here, so I mean,
Right.
I think if I was you, I'd reach out and invite him to your next meeting to find out what's really going on there, so something don't make sense, I don't think.
Yeah.
We've had
Well, you gotta have.
4
that.
calls in the last 5, 4 of the last 5, there's been an ambulance service there from town that could take the people. I don't know, that's not mine,
Guys gotta have an
but I
ambulance.
just know we're responding to a lot more medicals than we were used to.
So they're pulling the ambulance out of Finley.
The ambulance itself, Yes,
The ambulance
they're gonna
itself.
have, yeah. They're not gonna transport it anymore.
Why-
We'll
why-
have a first responder.
That's a
pickup.
long ways for.
Absolutely.
It is,
That's why,
but
that's why.
we also have to have the people here to do it.
Yeah.
I
I
know
agree,
they're
I
down
agree.
to, I think they've got only two. I think they got only two first responders, two EMTs,
I'm sure an ambulance.
so they need more,
We have a paramedic in town.
but she's not here all the time. And neither is our nurse. So
She works
gone.
nights. And we have these guys during the day.
we know that. And she's part of that, and she's part of that ambulance service, we know that. So, but that's up to him, we have to figure out. Yeah, so those are the three things I got. Okay.
Okay,
So do you guys want? Who wants to reach out to Stefan? You want me to reach out to him or
Yeah.
Charlie or? Ben or?
More official. Truthfully.
and put him on the August meeting.
Still, the commissioners invited him. But
Should we do that August meeting or July meeting so we can get going on that? That's
We
kind of,
can
that's an
discuss the
important issue.
budget.
Oh, it's
For next year?
19th. Yeah, we're having another, get him on that.
That's an important,
It is,
So
Very
that's
important.
July 19th.
yeah,
yeah, you guys okay with that?
yep,
That's an important issue, I think.
it is. We gotta have an ambulance in town. We went through that before and I thought that was working, but
Okay, what else do we have?
I do have one more thing. Talk to you guys about. I received notice from, long story, I can tell you the Reader's Digest. A notice from Kim Jacobson that she had gotten a bill from an attorney who served as a guardian ad litem in a divorce matter in Steele County. There's a state statute that used to say that the court could, if the parties were indigent, meaning not able to pay, that the court could order that the county in which the family lives pays for attorney guardian ad litem fees. Now it says the county pays for it if the court so orders. It's $5,800. And I looked at the court filings and whatnot, not gonna get into details, but I feel like things weren't done quite properly. And so I've been in contact with the attorneys involved in the case. Keep in mind, it's a private divorce, like so if somebody's getting divorced and there's kids involved and the court wants the guardian ad litem to represent the children, or one of the parents wants it, then the court can do that, can order a guardian ad litem, and if they effectively there's an inability to pay, then believe it or not, the county has to pay for it. But $5,800 is a big bill to get. We do nothing about it. Never received the court order that was signed back in April or May. Didn't receive anything except it was all said and done, got a bill for $5,800. I think Emily, you're aware of that too, right?
Oh, yeah, I got a call yesterday morning from the attorney saying that Agassiz Valley denied responsibility paying it and that we were, and I was in left field on what that was even all about. So I told her I'd have to get a hold of Charlie and look into it.
And that's what we're doing. And I'm going to talk to our legislators too to see if that statute needs to get looked at and changed, because it's.
well,
They have private attorneys, so they're paying their attorneys. They can't afford to pay for attorney for their own kids, and now we're stuck with the bill.
but being social services,
But it's not social services related.
oh, it isn't.
They're not in social services custody, nothing. It's there. This is just a private divorce going on where there's kids involved. And there was an attorney appointed to represent the kids, and you want us to pay the bill.
Well, social services is used to do the burials and stuff like that.
They
so-
do that.
Still do.
And all that, they still do.
But this
it,
isn't
everything, but
social service.
No, nothing to do with it.
I guess we've never dealt with this before.
Do you know if there's any line item in anybody's budget for legal matters. I mean, trail there is in the clerk of courts one for, because we've had matters in the past where there's a mental health issue that have to be taken care of, you know, on an emergency basis that the state attorney's office can't handle, so on and so forth. So there is a line item in the clerk. I wasn't aware of it until I asked him yesterday. There's a line item in
Court appointed attorney for $250. I don't know what they usually use that for.
$250.
Correct. Which
Doesn't get us more.
That's
Half hour
nothing.
For you guys.
Yeah.
What now?
I,
That's a half hour for you guys.
That's it.
Hmm.
So anyway, I'm going to be looking into it. I mean, we should have got notice of it, and there's other things that I don't want to say on record. But I don't think we're gonna just immediately rubber stamp it and pay it. It's just, you guys are aware of that.
Is Kim gonna look into this too, also through the state or anything?
Well, Kim's out of it. I mean, but I mean, there is a statute on point that says that it can be done, but there's a specific way it needs to be done. I'm not sure it got followed, one. And two, I think the statute needs to be changed so that there's more of a specific procedure as to how it happens. I mean, for example, a county should get notice that they're on the line for a potential attorney bill. 100%. Get nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And currently there's no specific procedure for the court to follow in terms of making a decision about whether the people who are going through divorce have the financial wherewithal to pay it. And that should, in my mind, that should be based not only on their income, but also the marital assets. You know, say they have $100,000 in assets, but no income to pay for something. Well, then they need this, as part of their divorce, they say, okay, we're gonna sell this ATV to pay for the guardian ad litem fees.
Yeah.
You know, right now, there's nothing. It does say that the court needs to find that they're not able to pay, but it doesn't have any process to it. So I'll be working with Emily and the attorneys on that, and we'll see where it ends up. But for now, I'm assuming you didn't present that bill or anything today. Yeah.
I don't have it.
Oh, you haven't seen that.
No,
Okay,
I just got the phone call.
from the
Got
attorney
it.
who sent the bill. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
I did receive a call from the North Dakota State Auditor and stuff about the audit they did for us here at the courthouse and everything, stuff. And they said that there was a few requests that they had made and stuff that they had got from Emily, Amy, and Carly and everything else, and they were very pleased with the work that the ladies here had done for the state audit and the information they needed, they provided for them and stuff. There was a few questions here and there, and we're always gonna get a few comments back from them no matter what. You can have everything perfect, you think, but then they still are gonna have some recommendations for us and everything and stuff. So we had a good talk and stuff, and he was asking how we do stuff up here and different aspects of the county, what do we have on the agenda and everything else, and how we go through things and everything else, and I explained stuff to them and everything. So just a little follow-up to let you guys know that they do this every year that we have audit. They always call the chairman and sit down and talk to them for 15, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever and stuff. So it was good. They were well pleased with what we had and stuff, and probably would be no changes in the coming year and stuff. So
yeah.
You haven't received anything?
I have not, no.
Okay, I didn't think so. So they were just finishing up when he called me, so.
Right.
That's all I have. Ted, you got?
What I have is that a while ago, there was a thing in the paper and it pertained to wages and stuff of our auditor. Well, I went and asked to see what back so far since our auditor's been on board, and I asked what wages were per year for the auditor. And they're way lower than what this gentleman was saying. And I just, it's just not a fair deal the way it was gone about. The guy wasn't doing his job of looking, he looked for what he wanted, not what actually was there. So I just don't believe everything you read in the paper. So, and then if a guy wants to throw stones and stuff, you could say what was in the paper about him a few years ago. So that's as far as I'll go with it, but don't believe everything you read. Do a little facts before you, somebody starts saying what is what, so.
It's all public record. Wages are
It
all
is
public
public
record.
record.
You guys approve every budget, every pay raise for somebody, so.
Yep.
I did reach out to that individual as well, and they advised me they were gonna bring me the information they were given, so. I'm giving that person the time to do that, and if not, I'll go from there.
Yep. That's all I have.
Okay, do we have anything else? We want? Did we do this one?
Yes, that was it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
1 PM on our meeting then? on,
July 19th, yeah,
Yep, on July 19th.
1 PM, yeah, and I will need a motion on payable of the bills. Stuff,
So move.
got the last one there and stuff going around. Got a motion, got a second. on
Richard
that.
hasn't looked, but it's,
Brian, second the motion on the bills. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. If there's no other business, I will declare the commission meeting adjourned.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
Or
motion.
to adjourn. Richard,
Motion.
Brandon, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Win,
Everybody have a good day.
meeting adjourned.
Thank you. On top of it.